5.3 8 HP wagon is done. Well, done for now. I've got about 1,000 miles on the swap since the last video. Way overdue to give you guys an update, so let's get into it. What's changed from the outside? Yeah, not a lot. Still a bone stock soccer mama bill. Haven't really touched it. Gave it a wash. That's about it. Motor setup's also the same. For anybody who hasn't been following along, this is just an iron block 5.3. It's an LM7. It's got a truck Norris cam, long tube headers from LSE90. Pretty simple setup. Probably makes, I don't know, 300 wheel, 310 wheel, which isn't a ton compared to what these can make, but in this car, even in A, it's surprisingly fun with the 8-speed. I did get the AC wired up and charged, which is a must here in Savannah. It is hot as hell. I used Mike's guide for the Holly and just kind of adapted for the MaxxECU. Happy to do a short walkthrough if anybody wants to see it, but there's an AC pressure sensor there on the high side that you can splice into. You run it as an analog input and then just run an output to the compressor, which just has a single little bullet connector for power. It grounds through the bracket. Make sure you sand some of the powder coating off, and then a little bit of configuration in M-Tune, and it's working great. We also have an exhaust now. So reached out to Andrew at First Place Fabrication here in Savannah, and he built me a fully custom 3-inch stainless TIG welded work of art. We were hoping to keep it pretty tame and quiet, so it's got 2 high flow cats in the front, Ys into a vibrant ultra quiet resonator, and then this is the vibrant street power muffler. I was worried actually it was going to be too quiet. I didn't really have a lot to go on, just YouTube videos and random reviews. Definitely don't have that problem. It's maybe a little boomy around town, but once you're up to speed in 8th gear, it's not bad at all. Once the exhaust was done, meant we could finalize a tune with Drayson at Me Motorsports. He's the guy for these. He's tuned a million of them. He's very familiar with the 8 HP MaxxECU control. So he remoted in. We did maybe an hour-long tuning session, just doing some pulls, getting the shifts dialed in, some stop and go, hot start stuff. And the car, it runs fantastic. It's so much fun to drive. Couldn't be happier with how it turned out. That's not to say we didn't have some issues along the way though. Nature of doing a swap like this is you're gonna run into some problems. We hit them pretty early on. If you listen closely to the last video, you might notice that we were only running on 6 cylinders. So if you are using one of these MaxxECU terminated LS harnesses, please, 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 before you connect everything and put it in the bay, just go on every connector, give it a little bit of a pull, make sure that all the pins and everything is seated, or are seated, because 2 of my ignition coils, when I did that, they just popped right out, which explains being down 2 cylinders. I think they're just cranking these harnesses out too fast and kind of skipping over some QA. I'm not the only person this has happened to, so again, if you have one of these and are using it, save yourself some headache and check it first. Unfortunately, got struck with the same issue for their 8 HP harness. I got stranded in a bakery parking lot a couple weeks ago. A car would just kick me back to park as soon as I tried to move it. I had my laptop so I could check the logs, and I could see that the shifter was basically just commanding park as soon as anything would move. So I pulled the console out and just started kind of looking over things, wiggled the connector, and realized that fixed the problem. So yeah, same issue there. Once I got home, I just made sure everything was seated well and that there's enough slack on the harness, and it's been working fine since. But yeah, save yourself some pain. Double check your harness before you put it in the car. The other big issue we had was belt alignment woes. This was really due to my inexperience. I should have checked this when we first put the bracket on months ago. I had a belt squeal since day one. Kind of ignored it, figured maybe it would work itself out, but chucked a belt after a pull and knew I needed to do something about it. Ended up buying the little Dayco belt alignment tool. It's a glorified laser pointer, but I don't regret it. It's a 2-piece kit. 1 piece goes on the pulley, the other piece goes on the balancer, and the piece on the pulley just shoots a laser so you can see exactly where it lines up. So once I did that, it was pretty clear where my issues were. I needed to shim my power steering pulley. This is the N52 pulley. I just had to shim it out just by a washer, just barely. So I put a washer on the backside of it behind each of these bolts where it sits against the pump, and that fixed that. Also realized that my compressor was about a rib off. So took the compressor off and where it sits against the backside of the bracket here, there's 3 silver washers. Just replace those with some smaller ones so that it would sit further out. Got the alignment in check, and it runs great now. No more noises. I've been beating the crap out of it, haven't thrown a belt again, so I hope we can call that issue solved. With that, let's take it for a drive. All right, guys, I am way overdue to do a final update on this car and have some driving videos. So join me for a little sunset ride in the wagon, talk through some of my thoughts, show some pulls, show some normal driving, just to give you an idea of what the car's like. Overall, couldn't be happier with how this thing turned out. You know, at the beginning, my goal was to be able to have a swapped car, but have no compromises. I wanted it to ride nice, still be a BMW, be fun. You know, obviously wanted a little bit of chop, you know, to know it was a V8, but really want to be able to put a lot of miles on this thing and not worry about it. I didn't want it to feel sketchy, and I think we've accomplished all of that. The beauty of the swap is being able to keep a lot of the stock driveline components. So I'm running, again, a stock drive shaft, stock Weebo, stock engine mounts, stock trans mounts. I've still got stock suspension in this thing, so it rides like a 328 wagon. There's no weird vibrations, there's no harshness. Probably the biggest tail of the swap is just that the exhaust is a little loud, you know, and I think once we turbo this thing, that'll solve that problem, so it'll be the perfect car. We've got AC rocking right now. You know, no regrets with going with the MaxxECU. I think having native CAN integration with the E9X, it's a game changer for a swap. And I went the lazy plug and play route, used a Speed C harness and the LS terminated harness, plugged some connectors together, ran a power, ran some grounds, fired right up first try, no lights on the dash. Everything just worked, aside from those connector issues that I've mentioned in the past. But yeah, it's really, really awesome, really rewarding. I've got 1,000 miles on this thing. It's been, you know, once we work through those initial kinks, it's been reliable. I think I'm to the point where I'm pretty comfortable driving it long distances. I still carry an extra belt and some tools with me just in case, but yeah, that's it's pretty awesome. Really stoked on how this thing turned out. And the MaxxECU, yeah, again, couldn't be happier with the whole package. I think it makes sense to have an ECU and TCU controller all in one, especially if you find a tuner that knows how to work with them both, which is key. You get a lot of cool features with MaxxECU. The MTune software is super customizable. It's kind of overwhelming for me, but slowly starting to learn it, and there's endless number of things you can do with it. I think the other cool thing that I haven't seen a lot of people mention, wipers. Man, every time that happens, that scares me. Because you do get native check engine lights and whatnot if you've got an error, which is really cool. But yeah, the other thing I haven't seen people mention much is with MaxxECU, they have this accompanying app for Androids called MDash, and with that, it'll connect to the MaxxECU over Bluetooth, and you can set up gauges, alerts, whatever you want from it. And perhaps the coolest part of it is you could even set up what they call a tune selector. So if you're a turbo guy, you could set different maps for that. But with me, I'm just using it for a transmission tune option. So you may not know this, but the MaxxECU 8HP firmware, I think it's built on a Dodge Demon TCU software, but they basically take that, you know, sprinkle their sauce on it. And with that, you get the kind of OEM-ish maps. So there's a street mode, which is what I drive around in most of the time. It's kind of softer shifts, you know, shifts more lazy, I guess you could say. There's a sport mode, which is kind of in between, you know, a little more aggressive, but still not bad. There's a track mode, which is really aggressive. The pulls are a blast. It's full fun mode. And there's also a drag mode, which is, I think that gives you options to use the trans brake, I want to say, and some other cool stuff. I could be wrong. I'll include a blurb if I am, but yeah, that has been a really neat part of this. And plus, just to keep an eye on everything. Make sure oil pressure and all that's looking good. I've got these little bars just so I can quickly glance at it and see that everything's good. Obviously green is good, it'll turn to red if oil pressure drops or coolant temps get too high. I chucked the belt early on and it quickly alerted me when I was losing voltage. Really nifty package. As for the 8 HP, which is probably what most of you want to know about, does it live up to the hype? Yes, it absolutely does. I am a believer. I can see why everybody is swapping them all over YouTube. It's an incredible transmission. It's engaging and a lot of fun when you're romping on it. But around town, as you've seen, it's smooth. It's just like a normal car. There's nothing to it. Plus, if you blow one, you can get, this is one out of a Ram 1500. You can get one for like $500 from LKQ. They're everywhere. It's an incredible transmission. I think a lot of your experience with it, if you go this route, is going to come down to your tuner though. So make sure you pick somebody who knows what he's doing, because there's a lot of ways you can mess it up. But really, I think the best way for me to show you my experience with it is just to include a bunch of clips of different scenarios. I'll flip through some of the drive modes, do some pulls. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you know, happy to shoot some more video, happy to talk through it some more. I think the next phase of this project will probably be a turbo, maybe some NM Sport body kit, but do have some other projects in the works. So, all right guys, let's cut to some clips.